Randy Robison. This is Life Today TV, and I have the pastor of Passion City Church in Atlanta here. You've probably heard of him if you've been to any Passion conferences. I know you have. Louie Giglio is with me today. Thank you, Pastor, for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. It's my pleasure.
Well, you know, I'm excited you're here because I first heard your name and your the buzz about your conferences from people younger than me. And that's a great thing because I look at, the 20 to 30s. I've got a daughter who will be 19 very soon. And I'm going, okay, what's going to light her fire? And then I hear, okay, well, there's this guy, Louie Giglio, and you're kind of lighting their fire. How did you get into reaching sort of that generation there?
For me, it's like almost everything else in life. God puts you in these places that sometimes you don't even see on the radar. And I was in Fort Worth, Texas, in grad school, thinking about being a pastor, but I'm an older guy. And so back then, you could be a pastor, a minister of education, a youth minister, an evangelist, a missionary. That was about it. And I wasn't sure that I fit in one of those slots. I'm at grad school, and after grad school, I go down to Baylor University in Waco to do another graduate degree, mostly because the girl I'm going to marry is there.
That's a good reason.
But while I'm there, God begins to give me a heart for college students. And I start a Bible study along with some other students, one of which is my wife now, working with college students. And God just blows the thing apart. Because what students want is Jesus. They don't want religion. They want real life. They want truth. They don't want to be catered to. They want to know what can I build my life on? And we just started talking about Jesus and worshiping Him freely and openly, passionately. And what was going to be a Bible study that I led while I was in grad school for a year and a half ended up being 10 years of life that my wife and I invested in students at Baylor University. And on any given Monday night, a tenth of the population of the university was at this Bible study called Choice Bible Study, where we just opened the Word and just went after God in worship. And all of a sudden I realized, okay, 1 year turned into two turned into 10. God, this is what you're doing with my life. And my dad became ill in Atlanta. My wife and I moved to Atlanta to help my mom take care of him. He became disabled. And my dad died right as we got to Atlanta. And we were like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But a little spark happened and a movement called Passion began. And Passion basically was just taking what we had experienced on a campus for 10 years to the campuses of the nation, to the 19 million university students in America. And we just started gathering them together in 1997. And since then, we've seen tons of students come for 2 days, 1 day, 4 days to be challenged by the Word. And what we do, and the success of it all, has been to try to reorient their thinking to this radical proposition that life is not about me. Life is all about Jesus. And my life takes on the most significance when I make my life about Him.
That sounds like church, right? Why do you think you've kind of reached those who kind of fell in that gap between? They're not. Most of them are good kids in general. It's not like they're running from God, but they're not necessarily in church. Maybe.
Yeah, people say, there are all these statistics right now about the 20-somethings and that there's a mass exodus from faith and a mass exodus from the church.
I don't see that, though.
And I feel like what I say to people is they may be leaving the building, but I don't think they're leaving the faith. Yeah. I think they're actually looking for the faith. And we've got to be careful as those who lead the generation to come and want to serve and inspire them that we don't create a system that is, like the Scripture says, it's full of religion, but it's void of power. Because they really are, they've been, they're from broken homes. They've experienced all kind of hurt, disappointment, deception, and they've got a sixth sense for authenticity, and they want to know, what can I build my life on? And I think what we did at Baylor, for example, Baylor is a great school. My wife went there undergrad. I went there to grad school. I loved the place, but it's the largest Baptist university in the world. And the students we were living in proximity to every day all had experienced church, but very few of them had experienced the transforming power of walking with Jesus and walking in the Spirit day by day by day. And so we were just reintroducing them to Jesus. And they loved him. Most people do when they meet him.
Yeah. Where are you going from here? I mean, is it just passion here, passion there?
We try to do one large event every year in America. We don't do that like to the law because we want to be led by the Spirit. So there have been a few years where we haven't had an event, but almost every year we do a major event in the United States, and often it's in January, and we'll be back in Atlanta on January 1st through the 4th for Passion 2013 at the Georgia Dome. Your daughter needs to be there. There will be students from Baylor there, and students from every one of the 50 states in America and probably about 30, 40 countries around the world. There should be somewhere around 60,000 plus college students for 4 days. And it is all about the Word, worship, and justice. And so that's the hub, and then we'll branch out around the country some, and then we'll do events around the world. We're on our way to Africa actually in 2 weeks. We'll be in South Africa and in Kampala, Uganda, doing 4 events, passion events there.
Wow. Okay, so you're global with it. What do you mean by justice? There's a word that's loaded, right?
You know, justice is the forgotten word of the gospel. And I think there's always been like these A-B dichotomies, you know, do we reach the lost or do we care for the poor? It's like, whoever said you had to pick between those two things?
Yeah, exactly.
And passion is very much a worship-oriented movement. And so music and songs of worship are a big part of what passion's about. And so people say, well, do you want to just gather people and sing songs, or do you really want to go and bring justice to the last and the least of these? And I'm like, do you have to choose between those two things? Yeah. And for us, it comes down to this. Hebrews 13, 15, and 16, it says, through Jesus, then, let us continually offer a sacrifice of praise to God, which is, so here comes the definition, the fruit of our lips that give thanks to his name. That sounds like music and worship and singing. And don't neglect doing good and sharing with others, for with these sacrifices, God is pleased. And so right there, you get both and. And so we keep pushing justice front and center with this generation because they want that. They know that the world needs water. They want to know how they can bring water. They know there are 27 million people trapped in slavery. They want to know, how can I get them into freedom? And so we put justice in the center. We say worship and justice are two sides of the same coin. And if you ask God tonight, would you like us to sing you another hymn or another worship song? Or would you like us to go across the street to the broken and reach out to them? And I think he would say, well, could you sing the song as you're going across the street?
That's awesome. Where do people find out about the whole thing? What's your website? Passion
website is 268, the numbers, generation.com. Comes from Isaiah 26:8. That's our root and core. The end of it says, for your name and your renown are the desire of our souls. 268generation.com.
Do check out the website right now. I mean, it sounds like a great thing. I'd love for my daughter and everybody that's in school to get involved in that kind of thing. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
You're so welcome.